Team 4.
Good evening and welcome. We're from IBM. My name is Doug. I'm the Chief Operations Officer. IBM wants to have more flexibility in our community. Our team is charged with forming a subcommittee to find a social issue in our community that IBM can have a meaningful impact and improve society. We've decided on a large population that serves this community that is affected by a neurological condition, autism. Next slide. All right. Now, two researchers in the 1940s, both separately studying children, one in Austria and one in America, both were observing certain types of attitudes and conditions in these children, which is a lack of interest, a change in routines. They had actually good memory, sensitivity to stimuli, but most importantly, they just had a really interesting attention to detail to objects in the inanimate environment. Now, both of these researchers actually coined the same term, not even talking with each other, from the Greek word, which most conditions are from the two terms autos and self, which together they brought together to be autism. Now, Kara, our Director of Human Resources, is going to tell you a little bit more about this condition.
Thank you, Doug. Autism currently affects 1 in 68 people. You can see here from this chart, just 15 years ago, in the year 2000, it affected 1 in 150. While the rise in prevalence isn't known, it's a recognizable increase, and it's been exponential. This year, more kids will be diagnosed with autism than AIDS, cancer, and diabetes combined. 1% of the U.S. population is affected, and the majority are under the age of 22. Autism is the fastest growing developmental disorder here in the U.S. The outlook for someone with autism is uncertain. 56% of them will not graduate high school. 56% will graduate high school. 14% will go to college, of which only half will complete it. 90% of people with autism will be either unemployed or underemployed. Autism is a spectrum disorder, meaning it varies in severity between individuals, and they're usually separated into two groups, low functioning and high functioning. About 50% of the population is in the high functioning group. That means they have average to above average intelligence. There is a segment of this population that can be quite successful in the competitive workforce. They have qualities neurotypicals don't. Neurotypicals meaning someone not on the autism spectrum. Their skills are as variant as this condition. And in fact, there's a saying in the autism community, if you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism. They can prove to be quite exceptional in these fields: computer science, mathematics, and journalism. In journalism, it's more in the editing and proofreading arena. It is estimated that 50,000 individuals with autism will turn 18 every year. Adults, state and school supported services for adults are in high demand, but are nearly non-existent. While scientists have created intervention models and good evidence-based practices and therapies for children on ASD, they have not created more programs for adults. And most will lose their state and school provided services by the time they're 21. It is estimated that autism costs the U.S. annually $137 billion. For someone who is high functioning, it's estimated to cost around $1.4 million in their lifetime. And most of that cost comes from adulthood, and it pays for their residential funding. Because again, they're part of this 90%, they're unemployed or underemployed. However, the past 2 decades, there's been a lot of advancements and improvements in their therapies and programs. The 500,000 the next 10 years will turn 18, and this coming of age autism population are now viewing this diagnosis as not a set of disabilities, but more of a set of abilities. And we don't need the mentality that everything needs to be fixed for someone with autism to be okay in the workforce. The autistic population represents a pool of potential employees corporate America needs to explore. I'm going to hand it over to Charlie. He's our Director of Technology.
Thank you. And therefore, we would like to propose in partnership
with the Non-Pearl Institute, WASD. Now, before I can actually explain what WASD is, I would like to just give a brief explanation about what WASD is, or I'm sorry, about what the Non-Pearl Institute is. Now, the Non-Pearl Institute is a local nonprofit institution that's located here in Richardson that specializes in training adults who have autism to in various skills that will groom them for a future white-collar career. Now, WASD, or Winning Against Social Disorder, will introduce various aspects of computer science and graphic design to autistic children with the given appropriate aptitude. Now, and like I said, this will encompass various aspects, including coding, debugging, app development, and all the various aspects of graphic design. The program itself will provide a really helpful outreach to these talented candidates, creating an interest in things like computer science, with the hopes to a pathway to a career in these set fields. Now, about the logo itself, you're probably wondering, like, what's kind of curious what exactly is going on here. Now, so the very first thing about WASD is people who don't know what it is, it's a popular pop culture reference in a way, because for people who have played or enjoyed video games, especially on the computer, WASD is the common key group in which you use to move your character and whatnot. Now, the reason why we thought that WASD, or at least the keyboard setup, was kind of a cool idea was because, like we had mentioned earlier, many children and people with autism have a high fascination with anything with this virtual or inanimate environment. So we thought that this would be a really good way to kind of portray our common interest. Now, for the puzzle pieces itself actually symbolize autism because of the fact that each piece is different, but together it makes a whole. Now, and last but not least, it kind of coincidentally happens so that it forms a triangle, which is arguably, I say arguably, the strongest shape. So now, combined with this popular pop culture, the actual symbol of autism itself, without actually specifically saying autism, and all having it all shaped in the form of a triangle, I thought would make for a great logo. Now, a little more about the actual project itself. This will all be in partnership with DISD, and we will accept 60 total applicants, 30 of which we'll be getting from the 6th to 8th grade block, and then the latter 30 from the 9th to 12th grade block. IBM will be working with DISD Special Needs District Director to help target gifted autistic students who have the said capacity to learn about computer science and our various courses. And this will in turn influence the other programs within the DISD Special Needs Department. And now, the target students itself will receive an information packet that will be sent home with them, which will basically give a rundown on a basic rundown on our 8-week program. The enrollment is very limited. Like I said, it is only 60 applicants, and this will be done based on DISD's actual recommendations. Now, I will be handing it off to Brittany, who is in charge of accounting.
Okay. Like we said before, we are from IBM. Now, our staffing needs are going to be, we are going to be working with DISD and Non-Pearl, and DISD will be offering 30 members from their staff, from their special needs and gifted and talented group, to come along with the ride in order to help the students along the way. Non-Pearl will be offering their staff in conjunction with our staff, the ones that you see today, and they will also be helping with DISD. This will be a program that will be ran mainly by Non-Pearl because they are the ones that are more hands-on with dealing with children that have autism. Non-Pearl was established in 2009 by a father of an autistic son, He wanted to provide his son with a better life for the future, so he created this program or this institution to help kids in the future. With that being said, their staff that will be helping on hand, most of them have children that are autistic, and they all come from the computer science background. That includes app designers, web designers, game designers, etc. They will be on staff to help us out with anything that we need, and we will also be providing lunches and snacks from Choice Lunch, which is a private catering company that provides lunches for private schools, and they will be creating our lunches for our staff and our children. Now going on to the budget, we will also we will be providing transportation from DISD schools to the non-parallel institution in Ferguson. So we will be using 2 bus drivers, which will also include the bus charges, which is about $10,000. I mean, $10,000. And then lunches will be $4 per head per day that they're there, which will be Monday through Friday. So a total comes out to $9,600. And then we will be making a one-time donation to go towards renovations or any additional needs that non-parallel needs in the future. But that does not include the $600 that we're going to pay for each child to go to the institution to get help. So that total comes out to $72,000. And then for things to try and get the kids more involved and to get them to let them take things home that they can remember their experience at the summer camp, we are going to provide them with t-shirts, drawstring backpacks, notebooks, and pins that all have the logo on there so they can kind of remember what the time that they've spent. And then we have our miscellaneous costs, which will include also, which is not included in our lunch for the students, which is the staff lunching and any additional costs that we have to cover. It'll come out of our miscellaneous costs. So the total program will come out to $98,000 per summer camp, which is an 8-week camp. Now, this amount, this is the amount that we'll be asking a portion of it from Dallas Chamber of Commerce, but also the IBM will be providing 15% of proceeds that are purchased from IBM products will go towards the amount, and IBM will cover the cost for the additionals. So to finish the conclusion, I'm going to go ahead and pass you off to Doug, who is our Chief Operations Officer.
Thank you. So, Kara said before, you might have heard her say about the coming of age population. That's just whenever the autistic children become adults, they turn 18, and then after that, pretty much all state and school funded services are eliminated. Now this coming of age tsunami, they've got a unique skill set that not only do we have a huge need here for coders, graphic designers, all these things in the DFW area, but they have a unique skill set that's actually really hard to find in an individual. That the repetition and those types of things that can really benefit both IBM and the community at large. Now Mozart, Albert Einstein, or even Isaac Newton were born today, they would actually be diagnosed with autism. So that kind of tells you and just puts in perspective that with the right training, these autistic children really can be truly great. We believe our partnership with Choice Lunch, the Non-Parallel Institute, and DISD really can help these children benefit from training and really inspire them to find a meaningful career in their lives. And to top it off, April actually is Autism Awareness Month, and the color, as you can see, that we're wearing is blue. And we encourage you to do whatever you can, whether it be put a little blue sticker on your car or maybe changing your Facebook profile to have like a blue tint. That really is something that just can raise awareness for autism. So another thing, Autism Awareness Month, the slogan for it is Light It Up Blue. So we encourage you to do that. Thank you. We'll now take questions. Any questions? Yes?
What was the most interesting thing you learned in your research for this project?
I would say, for me personally, would be just what really classifies as genius. As Kara was saying, you've got low functioning autism, and high functioning. But within both of those, you can actually have, where they do with the IQ, almost off the charts IQ, Mensa level 132 type IQs, and that just kind of blew my mind and put it in perspective that, wow, they really are just kind of untapped potential, and that it kind of amazed me that really hasn't been explored more for the coding and that type of work. And non-parental, they do it, but they start when you're an adult. That's why we kind of wanted to do it when you start when you're a kid, and kind of encourage that, so that way they have a forefront to a career.
Thank you, Team 4.